For over 1,000 years, sick people walked into European cathedrals and walked out healed. Not through prayer alone, not through divine intervention that defied physics, through something far more tangible, through resonance frequencies built into the architecture itself, frequencies that modern acoustic engineers are only now beginning to understand. And then, in the late 1800s, something changed. The healing stopped. Not because the buildings changed, but because an industry worth trillions of dollars needed it to stop. This is the story of how cathedral architecture became humanity's first mass healing technology, and how it was systematically replaced with a business model that required you to stay sick. In 1248, construction began on Cologne Cathedral in Germany. The architects weren't just building a church. They were building a resonance chamber. Every measurement, every arch, every stone placement was calculated to create specific acoustic frequencies. The cathedral's dimensions follow precise mathematical ratios. The height of the nave, the width of the transept, the placement of columns, all designed to amplify and sustain particular sound waves. When completed, the cathedral could hold 8,000 people. And when those 8,000 voices sang in unison, the entire structure vibrated at 528 Hz. The exact frequency modern researchers now call the miracle tone. The construction took 632 years to complete. 6 centuries of masons passing down knowledge of sacred geometry and acoustic principles. They weren't just stacking stones, they were encoding healing technology into architecture. The Gothic arch wasn't chosen for beauty. It was chosen because it creates a specific resonance pattern. The rose windows weren't decorative. Their geometric patterns correspond to cymatics, the visible patterns that sound creates in matter. Every element served the acoustic purpose. But Cologne wasn't unique. Notre Dame in Paris resonated at 432 Hz. The entire structure was designed around the golden ratio, phi, which appears throughout nature and creates harmonic resonance with living systems. Chartres Cathedral created standing waves at multiple healing frequencies simultaneously. The labyrinth on the floor wasn't a religious symbol originally. It was a walking meditation path that placed your body in specific locations where frequency nodes converged. Westminster Abbey in London was designed so that Gregorian chants would reverberate for exactly 7 seconds, creating a sustained harmonic bath that washed over everyone inside. These weren't accidents of construction. Medieval architects called themselves master masons, but they were really acoustic engineers who understood something modern medicine has forgotten. The knowledge came from multiple sources. Ancient Greek temples were built with similar acoustic principles. The oracle at Delphi sat above a chasm that released gases and created sound resonances that altered consciousness. Egyptian pyramids have chambers that resonate at specific frequencies, chambers that were not tombs but healing rooms. The Islamic architecture of places like the Alhambra in Spain used geometric patterns and water features to create healing frequencies through the combination of sacred geometry and natural sound. This wasn't primitive superstition. This was sophisticated science passed down through secret societies of builders who understood how space, sound, and the human body interact. The human body is 70% water. Water is perhaps the most responsive substance to frequency and vibration on Earth. Japanese researcher Masaru Emoto spent decades proving that water molecules restructure themselves when exposed to different frequencies. Positive frequencies create symmetrical crystalline structures. Negative frequencies create chaos. Your cells, your blood, your cerebrospinal fluid all respond to sound the same way. And medieval cathedral builders knew this. Records from the 13th century describe people travelling hundreds of miles to spend time in specific cathedrals. Not to pray to a particular saint, not to see a relic, but because that cathedral cured their specific illness. Chartres became known for healing digestive issues. Canterbury Cathedral in England developed a reputation for curing joint pain and arthritis. Reims Cathedral in France was where people went for respiratory problems. Each cathedral had a specialty, because each cathedral was tuned to different frequencies. Here's where it gets interesting. In 1884, the global standard for musical tuning changed. For centuries, orchestras and instruments had been tuned to what's called natural tuning, where the note A vibrates at 432 Hz. This frequency is mathematically consistent with the patterns of the universe. It resonates with the Schumann resonance, the electromagnetic frequency of the Earth itself. which pulses at 7.83 Hz. When you do the math, I432 Hz is precisely tunable to that fundamental frequency. It creates harmony with nature. But in 1884, a conference was held. The Italian government under Verdi officially changed the standard to 440 Hz. By 1939, Nazi Germany pushed this standard internationally, and the British Standards Institute made it official. Today, virtually every instrument, every recording, every piece of music you hear is tuned to 440 Hz. The difference seems small, just 8 Hz, but the effect is profound. Music at 440 Hz creates measurable stress responses in the human body. It increases cortisol. It creates dissonance in cellular function. It literally makes you sick over time. And this happened right as the pharmaceutical industry was being born. In 1910, the Flexner Report was published. Abraham Flexner, funded by John D., to Rockefeller and the Carnegie Foundation, visited every medical school in America and Canada. His report concluded that medical education needed complete restructuring. Schools that taught natural healing, herbal medicine, homeopathy, or energy medicine were defunded and shut down. Only schools that focused on pharmaceutical intervention and surgery received funding. Within 20 years, the number of medical schools in America dropped from 160 to 80. And every single one of them now taught one thing: drugs and surgery are the only legitimate medicine. The timing was deliberate. Rockefeller had just broken up Standard Oil in 1911 due to antitrust violations. He needed a new monopoly. He already controlled the petrochemical industry, which produced byproducts that had limited commercial use. Pharmaceuticals gave those byproducts value. The entire pharmaceutical industry emerged from industrial waste that needed a market. And Rockefeller created that market by controlling medical education and making natural alternatives illegal or socially unacceptable. By 1925, it was working. The AMA, which Rockefeller heavily funded, began a campaign against what they called quackery. But quackery was defined as anything that wasn't pharmaceutical intervention. Chiropractors were arrested, herbalists were prosecuted, frequency healing devices were seized and destroyed. Within one generation, the entire medical paradigm shifted from supporting the body's natural healing ability to suppressing symptoms with chemicals. Rockefeller didn't do this out of concern for public health. He did it because he owned the petrochemical industry. And pharmaceuticals are made from petrochemicals. He literally invented an industry by making natural healing illegal and creating a monopoly on sickness. By 1920, going to a cathedral for healing was considered backwards and superstitious. By 1950, suggesting that frequency could heal was considered quackery. But here's what the research actually shows. In 2013, researchers at the University of California discovered that exposing human cells to 528 Hz frequency for just 9 minutes caused a significant increase in cellular energy and repair. The cells literally healed faster. In 2018, a study published in the Journal of Addiction Research found that listening to music at 432 Hz reduced anxiety and lowered heart rate significantly more than music at 440 Hz. The body recognizes one as medicine and the other as stress. Doctor. Royal Raymond Rife spent the 1930s developing frequency devices that could destroy cancer cells without harming healthy tissue. He documented complete cancer remissions using nothing but targeted frequencies. In 1934, the University of Southern California appointed a special medical research committee to bring terminal cancer patients from Pasadena County Hospital for treatment. After 90 days, the committee concluded that 86.5% of the patients had been completely cured. The remaining 13.5% were cured within the next 4 weeks, 100% cure rate using only frequency. The committee included 5 prominent physicians, including Dr. Milbank Johnson, who was president of the Southern California AMA. These weren't fringe doctors. They were the establishment. They saw the results with their own eyes. They signed documents confirming complete remission of terminal cancers. Dr. Johnson was so convinced that he began planning a press conference to announce the discovery to the world. He died under suspicious circumstances the night before that press conference was scheduled. The written records of the clinical trial disappeared. Rife's laboratory was destroyed in a fire shortly after. His research was confiscated. He was taken to court repeatedly by the American Medical Association until he was bankrupt and broken. The machines he built were systematically destroyed. Colleagues who supported his work had their medical licenses threatened. By 1939, every trace of his frequency devices had been removed from hospitals and clinics. He died in 1971 from a combination of alcohol and Valium, his work buried and discredited. Because you can't patent a frequency. You can't charge a monthly subscription for resonance. You can't build a $1 trillion industry on something that requires no pills, no procedures, no ongoing treatment. This wasn't the only time frequency healing was suppressed. In the 1940s, a German physicist named Dr. Hans Jenny continued cymatics research, proving that sound frequencies could create perfect geometric patterns in matter. His work showed that certain frequencies caused disordered cells to reorganize into healthy patterns. In the 1960s, researchers discovered that specific frequencies could stimulate bone growth in fractures that refused to heal. By the 1980s, ultrasound technology was being used to break up kidney stones without surgery. The medical establishment accepted frequency as a tool, but only in ways that could be monetized and controlled through expensive equipment and licensed operators. The average American now takes 4 prescription medications regularly. 4. The pharmaceutical industry generates over $500 billion annually in the United States alone. Globally, it's over $1.4 trillion. And it's not an industry designed to cure you. It's designed to manage your symptoms while creating new ones that require more medication. Look at the side effects on any pharmaceutical ad. The drug they're selling often causes worse problems than the condition it's treating. Then they sell you another drug for those side effects. It's not medicine. It's a subscription model, a model that requires perpetual sickness to generate perpetual profit. Meanwhile, maybe the same frequencies that healed people in cathedrals are being suppressed, ridiculed, and kept out of mainstream medicine. Cymatics, the study of visible sound and vibration, proves that frequency creates form. Researchers can literally watch as different frequencies cause matter to organize into specific geometric patterns. Your DNA is a receiving and transmitting antenna for frequency. Your brain operates on electrical frequencies that can be measured with an EEG. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends 3 feet outside your body and responds to emotional and vibrational input. You are not a chemical machine. You are a frequency being. And they know this. There's a reason why militaries around the world have developed sonic weapons. There's a reason why intelligence agencies have studied frequency as a tool for both healing and harm. In the 1970s, the CIA's Project MK Ultra included experiments with sound frequencies to alter consciousness and behavior. If frequency couldn't affect the human body, they wouldn't have weaponized it. The science is there. It's just not profitable to share it. So what happened to the cathedrals? They're still standing. They still resonate at the same frequencies they always did. But nobody sings in them anymore. The Gregorian chants that once filled these spaces for hours every day have been replaced with silence or modern music at 440 Hz. The acoustic design that made them healing chambers is now just considered pretty architecture. We turned healing temples into tourist attractions and called it progress. You can still feel it if you go there. Stand in the center of Chartres Cathedral when it's empty and speak. Your voice will resonate in a way that feels otherworldly. The building will respond, because it was designed to. Those medieval masons understood something we've forgotten. They understood that buildings could be medicine, that space itself could heal, that the right frequency, sustained in the right environment, could restore the body to its natural state of health. But that knowledge doesn't fit into the modern medical model. It doesn't generate profits. It doesn't require experts' prescriptions or insurance billing codes. It just requires truth. The truth that for most of human history, healing happened in spaces specifically designed to resonate with the human body's natural frequencies. The truth that we replace those spaces with a system that profits from keeping you sick. The truth that your body already knows how to heal itself. It just needs the right frequency to remember. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is economics. Follow the money. In 1900, there were virtually no chronic diseases. Cancer was rare. Heart disease was almost non-existent. Diabetes affected less than 1% of the population. Today, 6 in 10 Americans have at least one chronic disease. 4 in 10 have 2 or more. This didn't happen because we got weaker. It happened because we built an entire economic system that requires mass sickness to function. And that system starts by convincing you that the medicine is in a pill, not in a frequency. That healing comes from a pharmacy, not from resonance. That you need them to get better. When the truth is simpler and darker, they need you to stay profitable. The cathedrals still stand here. The frequencies work perfectly. The only thing that changed is who profits from your sickness.